Okay, your previous objections remain overruled, and States Exhibits 53 through 82 are admitted.
Okay.
Thank you, Judge. And may we publish?
Yes.
We're talking about how one of the first things you do is do a walkthrough, and then you do, I guess, what we call initial photos.
We call them entry photos.
Entry photos? Okay. Is that what these photos that we're going to be looking at are?
Correct. Yeah, this would have been probably the first photo that was taken, because our first photo tries to incorporate a house number as well as the front door of the house, which this photo does.
And so in this photo, does it have, I guess, the address in the photo?
It does here on the mailbox post. Yep, 7628.
So this next photo, what are we looking at here?
What exhibit number are we looking at?
This is
We're at 50.
Be sure to identify them by exhibit number.
So this would be 54.
Okay?
I'm showing you what is marked as States Exhibit 54.
So that's the front of the residence.
And now I'm showing you what is marked as States Exhibit 55. Is that just kind of a slightly different angle of the residence?
Yes. Yeah, we try to take all sides of the residence before we enter.
Okay. And this is States Exhibit 56. What am I looking at now?
So this is, if you were looking at the house, the right side of the house, and then the shed over to the right side of the photograph is the shed where the defendant was, I assume, living. There's a bed in there, and that's where his clothes were.
Okay. And States Exhibit 57. What do we see in this?
So now on the left side of that photograph is the same shed where the defendant was living, and then the building on the right was just kind of like a storage building, and then if you walk in between those buildings and around the back of that shed on the left is where we noted the child's clothing.
So States Exhibit 58, it looks like this is a closer up view to that shed. Are we seeing anything else in here?
I mean, there's items, trash. Looks like recent trash outside the item. There's a guitar that may or may not have worked, but yeah, it's just kind of the front-on view of that shed.
Okay. And States Exhibit 59?
Similar, just a closer up version of that.
And is it standard to kind of take kind of further out and then kind of go closer in photos, or how do y'all normally do that?
Yeah, for evidence, absolutely, but even for our entry photos, if we decide sometimes when there's a lot going on, meaning there's a lot of items in there, then we'll kind of approach that scene. It's the photographer's training to make their photography look as if you're walking up to a door that you're going to then go in and search. And so, yeah, different angles is pretty common.
This is States Exhibit 60. This is just a slightly different angle.
Yeah. Yeah, I think noting, so lots of times we want to use even our entry photos can also show evidence in place. So with the bed being there, our photographer would have tried to get as much as she could have on that bed without actually walking in.
I'm showing States Exhibit 61.
Same thing. So she just approached the door a little bit closer, took another photograph.
And States Exhibit 62.
Similar. So she probably stepped, just a little bit into the shed, and
So she's kind of right at the door frame now.
yeah.
Okay. All right, now States Exhibit 63. What are we looking at here?
So this just would have been another angle within the shed. It's still the shed where that bed is that you saw before.
Is this kind of more the left side of the shed compared
Correct.
to the
Yeah, as you
this
walk
on
in the
right?
door to the left. And as I said, these are entry photos, so this is the condition of it as we found it. And just by looking at it, it was already in that kind of disarray. when we found it.
So this disarray was not done by your search?
No, this is before we've done any searching.
Okay. And State's Exhibit 64?
Same, just getting our training for entry photos typically teaches us to take a photo from each corner of the room. Because of the amount of stuff that was in here, we couldn't do that without completely moving everything, which we weren't prepared to do at that time. We needed to get our in-place photos. So I remember having this conversation with the photographer that let's just get, from the center of the room, let's just get pictures panning around.
Okay. And State's Exhibit 65?
So similar, now she's looking back at that front door. So she's doing that kind of 360 look as she pans around.
In State's Exhibit 66?
Same thing. Now she's turned to look at the bed and take that entry photo.
Now, was there any floor space for you to walk on, or?
Very little. Yeah, there was a lot of trash, dirty clothes, some kids' toys, just other items that were kind of just all over the place. Yeah.
Now, State's Exhibit 66?
So just noting the items on the shelf here, I think she would have just, like you said, we don't know what's evidence at that point when we're doing our entry photos. So when we see a shelf like that, she would have easily recognized that as maybe a place something could be. So she wants to get it in place, picture of it. And, in this case, there's some children's toys, there's, Tide Pods and just other stuff on the shelf. I believe there's a game console up there, so she might have been trying to get that in there as well. If you can see at the top shelf, that white box is the game console.
Is that a pizza box?
On the floor?
Uh-huh.
Yes, yeah.
And looks like we're moving back outside. Talking about, I guess, the inside of the shed, was there any type of smell?
From what I remember, yeah, it smelled like kind of old garbage, like you hadn't taken out your garbage in days, and probably a mixture of dirty clothes as well. It smelled pretty bad.
All right, I'm going to show you State's Exhibit 68. So slightly different angle. So what are we looking at here?
So this is, now that she has gotten the photos of the inside of the shed, she's going to work her way around the outside before we start doing any evidence collection. So that's part of this process, is taking another photo of that angle as she's moving down that area between the two buildings. And I would have been right with her as the walkthrough. We would be behind her and she would be taking pictures, and then we'd walk and picture and then walk.
In State's Exhibit 69?
Same thing, just continuing that walk. You can see we're getting closer to that trash can if you look back at the other picture.
And now we're looking at State's Exhibit 70. Now orientate us between those two. Are we between those two buildings? Where are we at now?
So now we're kind of over behind the shed,
Okay.
in that building. And this is the area where the ranger said they thought they saw some children's clothes, specifically a little girl's clothes. So we kind of keyed on that and wanted to get a picture of it before we walked back there and started messing with anything. But it's really hard on the screen, but you can almost see dead center, a little bit bottom of center. There is what looks to be like a little sock. Yeah. So that's the first thing that we noted, that from what we knew of the victim seemed to match.
And is there also, it looks like maybe a cigarette package there to the left?
Yeah, it could be. There was a lot of garbage just buried in there too. I think at one point they were just, it seemed like whoever, whether it was the defendant or other people who lived on the property, were just kind of dumping trash there.
And this is State's Exhibit 71. And what am I looking at here?
So kind of that, you can see down in the bottom of this picture, what's labeled number 1 from our evidence tent is that sock that I initially mentioned. And then as you got closer to that sock, you kind of looked around that other building. You could see, if you move up to number 2, it's looks to be child's underwear, from that distance. And then if you move on to where number 3 is, over there, just to the right of the number 3 are small in size, looks like little girls' blue jeans.
And so kind of for orientation purposes, can you see that count? So where we originally saw the sock, kind of the front part of that trash pile, now we're seeing those clothes are kind of just all in line, the 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, kind of around that other outbuilding that's next to the shed.
And it looks like there's a little tent there. Can you explain what that is and why y'all do that?
So
This is State's Exhibit.
State's Exhibit 72.
Okay.
Sorry, Judge.
So our procedures when we collect evidence is we take an in-place photograph. So that would have been that first one you saw that didn't have any label on it. And then we take a medium shot of it. So that would have been the one where you saw all 3 evidence tents. And then we do a close-up in place as well. And so since this will be item number 1, the tent suggested it's item number 1. And it's the close-up of the item in place where we found it.
State's Exhibit 73. And so what are we looking at here?
So that's that sock, item number 1. You can see it written there on the butcher paper. This is that brown paper that I was referring to earlier. So we always take a close-up with scale as our next photo. So we have the scale there, and then we have the photograph to show size. And then this item after this picture would have been packaged up with that brown paper into a paper evidence bag.
Courtroom goes silent as the final verdict is read, and a shocking decision changes everything for Thomas Stein.
And so what is the sock is laying on that butcher paper you spoke about earlier?
Correct.
And you can go next.
Yeah, once we identify it and take our pictures close up, we can then move it from that location.
Right. So once y'all do that, you scale it, and you put, I think it's that number 1. Why do you write that number 1 on there?
Just so in the photograph we can remember which one it is, in case there's multiple items that are similar in style or nature. Yeah.
Is that number 1 also how y'all label your evidence log?
Yes, in this case it is, yeah.
And you're on my approach.
Yes.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 83. And do you recognize this item?
I do, yeah. This is our packaging and our labeling style. And this would have been one of our evidence items, number 1.
And what is in evidence item number 1?
It's listed here, child's light blue multicolored sock found behind shed on ground.
And is that the same piece of evidence that we're looking at here on State's Exhibit 73?
It appears to be, yes.
And are there any other identifying marks on this bag?
Yeah, we have 7 items that we put on all of our evidence bags. So we have the item number, we have the date, we have a case number, an FBI case number. We put the address, and then we have 2 initials. The initials are the collector and the assistant.
And is that bag still sealed?
It is sealed with evidence tape, yes.
And are there any marks on this bag that are not yours?
So the Wise County Sheriff's Office sticker, that would have been possibly for their evidence folks. And then these two labels might be, lots of times the lab that it's taken to will put their own markings on it, so it could be from that. We don't, with the FBI ERT, we don't process any evidence. We're collectors, and it goes to the official either FBI lab or state crime lab for processing.
So you collected this item, but then it will go off to a lab to be processed for
Examine, yeah.
DNA or anything else that
Sure.
needs to be looked at.
Yeah, in this case, it would most likely be DNA. Sometimes it's fingerprints. Sometimes it's computer forensics.
Hopefully not computer forensics on our
No.
side. And Your Honor, at this time, the state offers into evidence State's Exhibit 83.
No additional testimony.
All right, State's Exhibit 83, they are overruled, and State's Exhibit 83 is admitted.
Thank you, Judge.
कोर्टरूम में जब फैसला सुनाया गया तो सब खामोश हो गए। थॉमस स्टाइन के केस में ऐसा डिसीजन आया जो सब कुछ बदल कर रख देता है।